The comic book movie genre started with the mega blockbuster hit Superman the Movie, released in 1978. However, other than Superman, superhero movies were never really taken seriously. Over the years since Superman's big screen debut, comic book film adaptations such as Supergirl, Swamp Thing, and Howard the Duck weren't handled as carefully as the Man of Steel. That is until 1989's Batman. Among a slew of serious heavyweight competition, such as Ghostbusters 2, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, License to Kill, Back to the Future 2, and Lethal Weapon 2, Batman reigned supreme. 1989 was the year of the Bat. It was Batmania, a freaking phenomenon, and studios began to view the genre as a more bankable commodity. Helmed by Tim Burton and his dark visual approach, The Dark Knight would finally be portrayed in all his gothic glory. A 180 from the Caped Crusader's previous live-action interpretation, the campy 1966 version of Batman played by Adam West was a phenomenon all its own, but a dated image that was long overdue for a modern interpretation. The new approach worked, and Batman effectively demonstrated that if handled properly, comic book icons other than Superman could be successful as feature-length films. With its dark psychological approach, Art Deco-style Gotham City, and 1940s style of wardrobe, Batman is a stunning revitalization of the popular DC comic book character that introduced the Dark Knight to a whole new audience, starting a new trend in cinema. Mad About Superheroes presents Beyond the Bat, an in-depth look at the impact and influence of Tim Burton's 1989 classic comic book movie, Batman. Though Batman was a box office smash, that doesn't mean it's not without flaws. Batman is notorious among fans for playing a little too loose with the source material. The biggest contention is revealed in the film's third act, when Joker kills Bruce Wayne's parents, as opposed to the random act of violence depicted in the DC comic.
Tell me, kid, you ever dance with the devil by the pale moonlight?
Ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What? I always ask that of all my prey. I just like the sound of it.
A more minor offense also plays out in the third act, when Alfred reveals Batman's true identity to Vicky Vale by letting her into the Batcave. Nitpicks aside, Batman is still revered as one of the most important comic book movies ever made, and deservedly so. Batman's success legitimized the genre in a huge way. Whether you're a fan of this film or not, you can't deny its impact and influence on the comic book genre of films. The dark, brooding tone of Tim Burton's Batman is highly influenced by the dark, gritty tale told in Frank Miller's Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. And the film's visual style seems influenced by the futuristic landscape of Ridley Scott's Blade Runner. However, Batman would become just as influential as its influences. Batman played a huge part in getting the ball rolling for other comic book movies getting fast-tracked into production. A lot of the films that were green-lit had similar dark visual styles comparable to Batman. Unsuccessful in his venture to direct his own Batman film, Evil Dead director Sam Raimi created his own superhero, Darkman, starring Liam Neeson as the title character. Darkman was a hit, but Raimi is probably more widely known for helming the original Spider-Man, a film that became just as influential as Burton's Batman. The Shadow, directed by Highlander's Russell Mulcahy and starring Alec Baldwin, who was actually considered for the role of Batman, is basically Batman Bruce Wayne in the 1940s, though the Shadow comic strip predates the Caped Crusader and served as inspiration to Batman creators Bob Kane and Bill Finger. The success of the 1989 Batman film was essential to the film adaptation of The Shadow being greenlit. The Crow, starring the late great Brandon Lee, and Todd McFarlane's Spawn are also close in tone and visual style to Burton's Batman. The original 90s Flash television series, though short-lived, is majorly influenced by Batman. Despite the fact that the Flash in the DC comic isn't a dark character, the series' visual approach is lifted directly from Burton's Batman. Even the costumes are similar. In general, live-action interpretations of superheroes moving away from spandex is a direct result of Batman. The Flash series also uses the same composer, Danny Elfman, for its theme music. Though the two never crossed over, the 90s Flash can easily be viewed as being in the same universe as 89's Batman. The success of the 1989 Batman movie was also essential in the production of Batman the Animated Series, which sticks to the film's darker approach, arguably more effective than its cinematic counterpart. The visuals played a huge part in the influence of Batman, so it's no surprise that others would be inspired to emulate a scene that received roaring cheers in a theater I first watched the film in at the young age of 16. The casting of comedic actor Michael Keaton as Batman was a controversial decision at the time. Most were skeptical, thinking Warner Brothers would be backsliding into the campy 1960 version of the character. The misconception was put to rest when a trailer was released revealing the film's darker, grittier aesthetic, along with Michael Keaton's serious take on the character. Keaton was vindicated after the film was released, and is often regarded as the best actor to ever don the cape and cowl, a performance that's become the template for all others to follow.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
The hell are you?
I'm Batman.
Much like the role of 007, Batman has become a coveted star-making role in Hollywood. Jack Nicholson's iconic performance as the Clown Prince of Crime is as influential as the film itself. Nicholson set a trend in motion for other Hollywood heavyweights to seek roles as villains in future Batman films. Other actors that went on to portray the Joker would have to work hard to bring their own distinctive interpretations to the character after Nicholson's standout performance.
Holy freak. Terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me.
Inspiring some truly brilliant performances.
Hey, I don't get it. You just knocked out Catwoman and left her?
Oh, come on, Crockers. Didn't I say there's more than one way to get someone? Even as I speak, Catwoman is being trussed up at the Pussykins Pet Food Factory. First thing tomorrow, I'm sending a lovely case of cat food to Batman.
I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. It's gone.
But I cry because your love has passed me by. You took me by surprise. I didn't realize that you were laughing.
Over a decade later, the influence of Batman can still be seen in 2003's Daredevil, directed by Mark Steven Johnson. Not only does Daredevil have a similar dark tone like Batman, the script also ties the film's main villain to the title character's origin, also deviating from the source material. Batman features a character named Alexander Knotts, a journalist who is determined to prove that Batman is more than just an urban legend. Daredevil applies the same premise, with reporter Ben Urich. More recently, Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix, also lifted from Batman's script, by having Joker play a part in Batman's origin. Which is better in execution is open for debate, but regardless, the influence is still there. On the strong foundation of the original Batman, sequels continued through the 90s, varying in success. Burton reprised directorial duties for Batman Returns, and unfortunately was criticized for the film being darker in tone than the first. So Burton was replaced with director Joel Schumacher for the third installment, Batman Forever, and Batman was recast with Val Kilmer. Though bright, colorful, and lighter in tone than the previous films, Batman Forever managed to revitalize the franchise. Based on that success, the fourth installment went even lighter in tone, with a high camp approach. Straying from its trend-setting path failed, the return to camp did not work, and Batman and Robin became one of the most critically panned comic book movies of all time. Just as Batman was responsible for jump-starting the genre, it was also unfortunately responsible for stalling it. However, Batman would return to the darker roots of the original 1989 film. Thankfully, 8 years later, Batman would get a much-needed and deserved reboot with Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins in 2005 starring Christian Bale. Modest in box office take, but a huge critical success, gaining enough traction to warrant a sequel a few years later, The Dark Knight, which is revered as one of the best comic book movies ever made. The Dark Knight Rises would round out the trilogy, and in some ways the Nolan films are superior to the Burton and Schumacher era of Batman films. But without the original 1989 Batman, none of these films that sparked so much passion and debate would have been possible. Since then, other actors have and will portray the Dark Knight, all based on the foundation set by the one and only original Batman film. Along with 1978 Superman the movie, Batman deserves credit for playing a huge part in the birth of the superhero genre of films.
Vicky Vale.
Bruce Wayne.
And what do you do for a living?
Lieutenant, is there a 6-foot bat in Gotham City?
Nice outfit. I didn't ask. I have given a name to my pain.
What are you? I'm Batman. Get those toys.
My life is really complex. Terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me.
Thanks for letting your geek flag fly with Mad About Superheroes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below.